Hello everybody, it is me, Darcy, it is him, not Darcy.
One day he's going to slip up and say that I am Darcy.
I've already said I'm Kris, so...
Yes, you have.
That was a bad day. I considered going home and ending it all. Except I was already at home. So I saved myself a step.
Yes.
And welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the Unnamed Podcast where we sit here for a time and talk about shit. Well, mainly whatever comes to my mind.
Yes.
As always, we'll start things off with a little bit of channel news. Kris, what's happening on the channel this week?
We've gone up to 66 subscribers.
Thank you. We really do appreciate it, guys. And and for those of you who subscribed, like the 4 or 5 of you that have subscribed before last week's podcast came out, thanks for making us liars. Appreciate that one.
Oh, that's right, because it did happen like... Oh, god damn it.
It always does.
That's right.
It always does.
Yeah.
No, guys, we really do appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And yeah.
From
what else is happening, Kris?
On Monday, you put out Murder on the Orient Express.
Yes.
We haven't seen the murder yet.
No. But the video was actually titled Mustache on the Orient Express. And we did see that. So
I did, yes, that is true. Oh, we did too, yeah.
there was a mustache.
I did find
it
that.
was on the track. It was also in your face. But
He's not wrong, yeah. It's a thing. Then today, Wednesday, Spyro.
Yes.
Spyro came out.
Yes.
The next installment, one more installment to go?
No.
2 more? 7.
Probably close to 4 or 5.
4 or 5, okay. In this particular game?
Yeah, an episode.
Okay.
Yeah, it takes about, with all the backtracking, forward tracking, going back, and just the fact that they've added so much more to the game.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Like,
I forgot which game you were in, to be honest.
Spyro 2. I love it. I do. I really do love Spyro 2. However, as I've said, it kind of came out in that period where they figured out they could do things underwater.
True.
And with its control scheme, it doesn't really have great underwater control.
Oh, it is.
So if you watched any of the videos, or if you ever play it yourself, or if you have already played it, you'll know that when you're underwater, it's kind of like your actions are line up really slowly and then charge. Otherwise, you're just kind of wasting time.
Oh yeah. It's a
but,
massive pain half the time.
But you know, I'm fairly sure I'm finished with a lot of the swimming parts.
For now.
But there's still always a lot of backtracking and doing this and doing that. And,
it's very true.
So it's taken me 3 episodes to finish the first.
The first world?
The first world. Completely done. Everything's finished.
Nice,
there was some fuck around, I will not lie.
Yeah.
Where I forgot things I could have done earlier, which probably would have saved me time. And then also things where I was like, I need to do this, but then I totally blanked on how I actually did it. So if you watch the most recent one, there's the whole Orm in the first speedway, or whatever they call them. Yeah, they're speedways in this one. There were flights in the first one, speedways in the second one.
Yes.
In the speedway where I'm looking for a character, and I know exactly where they are, and if the audio was there, I would have said, I'm fairly sure they're right here, but I couldn't see them, because in my memory they were a lot bigger. But in the actual game, they're the same size as everyone else.
Yeah.
So I just missed them, and then I spent about fucking 5-6 minutes flying around that tiny little map looking for this person. And I was like, no, I'm fairly sure they were, and then they were right there, and I was like, fuck.
Did that make it easy on you?
No. I said, I just remember it being and then there's also my part memories, because obviously I played it when it came out. I played it back when I was a child. But, you guys gotta understand, I play so many games and just do so much that my brain is this muddle of things where it's I have vague memories of shit I've got to do. And so in Aquarius Towers, I spend quite a bit of time trying to open doors, because I remember these doors are supposed to open, but I don't remember how they're supposed to open. And the truth is, you've got to go talk to a character who blows them open for you, and then you can access them. And so I wasted a lot of time doing that, and a lot of time just not being able to find what I needed to find to get out to see that character. But at the same time, I also sit there and laugh because this was the one time where I actually questioned the fact that all of the level was dry when there was just a giant hole in the roof that led to the ocean.
Yes.
That was never sealed.
No.
And water don't work like that.
What are you talking about?
Water goes, no, that place is dry, I'm not going down there. You can't make me.
Get your ass down here.
You come down here. No, you're dry. I won't be down there.
Stop this tantrum. Down.
I'm up here. I'm staying up here. You get wet first.
So if I come up there, you'll follow me down?
Don't make me come and get you water. But yeah. So, and then there's also just like the whole lot of like, because obviously this was, again, like the original Spyro was fantastic, but it was definitely a game of its era where it was all like slight platforming, solving pretty easy puzzles, whereas this one was also a game of its era where it was like, okay, so we've got the same kind of stuff, however now we're adding backtracking and forward tracking and having to unlock skills and stuff like that.
Didn't you already have that?
There were never skills in the first game.
Oh, not in the first game, no. Like I was talking about when they originally made the second and third.
Yeah, they definitely had that.
I just thought you meant like the original. Is it? Like
No,
the original
no.
set, new set.
No,
Okay, I could have sworn there was.
No, everything in everything in these games is
the same.
Exactly the same as the original game.
Just updated.
Exactly.
Yeah. Definitely was.
But it's just one of those things where it's like you remember fucking like I know that this world that I'm currently going into has about 3 or 4 hidden portals.
Yes.
Summer Forest, the world I finished, has portals you have to buy and stuff like that. So
money bags.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a whole lot of kind of like the added stuff to make the game more.
Yeah.
And the goal in this one, as much as it isn't to collect all the gems. Like, if you want 100%, you've still got to collect all the gems.
Yeah. However,
if you're just wanting to finish the story, you don't need to collect all the gems. You just need to collect enough of them to pay for everything.
True.
And that's the real big difference. So in Spyro 1, the gems never change.
No.
Once you've collected it, you've collected it, because that's the goal of the game, getting all of the treasure. Yes. Whereas in this one, it's actually a currency, so it's always fluctuating. So you might have 100% at every mission and should have something like 14,000 gems, but you'll only have something like 10,000 because each of those missions had shit you had to buy, and then you had to buy skills and all this kind of stuff. So like you get it all back at the end, obviously. Spoiler, sorry.
Oops.
It's a what now? 6-year-old game based on a 20-year-old game.
Yeah, it's
you don't get spoilers.
Not news.
But yeah, so you get it all back in the end so that you have the nice round number. But the thing is that it's throughout the game it fluctuates heavily.
Oh yeah, massively. Bit of a downside.
Yeah.
You think you're getting somewhere, so we're going to take 1,000 of those as a hand. No, I wanted them. I wanted to keep them. No.
It's not that bad. I just really hate the fact that it's like I'm not a big fan of the backwards and forwards progression of it.
Oh, it's a pain.
Just because I don't mind it. I don't mind having to go back to worlds after I've learned a skill in that world, like the swimming skill in Summer Forest, and then you go back and you learn how to swim underwater, and you can apply that to some of the other levels. But the climbing skill, where you've got to go to beat the boss, go to the next world, then come back, I don't like that because it's a little bit too disconnected from it all.
No, it's
like I'd be happy if it was just for this ability you need to unlock it in the hub world. Then in the hub world you go and find it, and then then it's used. Whereas
this is why I reckon you're gonna get annoyed with the room 4. Because it's a lot of back and forth.
It already has been a lot of back and forth, and we've only done one episode.
Yeah, I know. That's why it takes so long to do that one.
Then, well, that being said, like, as I said, I'd still love to see a Spyro 4, but I would like to see it with the kind of the same level of complexity that they put in Crash 4. It's about time. Where it's you have to use different powers. So I'd love to see like some of the later Spyro stuff where you had like different breaths and stuff engaged.
That would be nice.
Or like different kind of like giving him abilities that you need to solve the thing, not just like here's a ladder, you don't know how to climb ladders, but like, you know, maybe have a skill that you've got to learn and then you can solve this puzzle or whatever. Cause I'd like to see something like that.
I did enjoy the newer games as well. Not as much as the originals. But the originals, they hold a place. But the newer ones, like I still had fun with them, but they tried to go a little too complex with them.
I don't think they tried to go too complex.
Definitely with was it Dawn of the Dragon?
Dawn of the Dragon.
That's the one with Cinder in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they went very out there with that one. Yeah, they tried an open world one, and I think it worked.
But again, that's kind of fine because at the same time, it's like they've added complexity, but we were in the era of, you know, even Mario was adding complexity.
Oh yeah, no, I don't have a problem with
it. It was no longer considered fine to just be a solid platforming game. You had to have something for the older gamers or whatever, something that would boggle their mind, but not too complex that younger players were completely cut off from it.
Yeah, this one was like they tried to go down the track of like it was a full-on war happening.
Yeah,
and it's like okay, but it wasn't. I don't think it was specifically between the dragons and something else.
No,
it's just they ended up
the denizens of the world.
Yeah, they ended up just getting caught in it. It's like,
it's not really that. It's more the fact that in like those...
Actually, no, there was a dragon involved.
Yeah, there was one. The evil purple dragon or whatever. But it's more in those like the dragons are very much like legendary creatures, kind of like because that's kind of where a lot of dragons, especially in like Western or modern Western, kind of come into it. It's like well, dragons are these incredibly powerful creatures and they're legendary. And so, like, if you use them, you kind of want to use them in that these are incredibly powerful legendary creatures type role. You don't want to just be like, oh yeah, these are mundane, like it was in the first one. But again, the first one was, and that's what I think, it's like, it's less complex and more like the story was darker, grittier, you know? The first game is literally dystopian. Like, dragons are literally turned into crystal.
Yes.
But it's just upbeat, nice and fun. And if you actually pay attention to a lot of the world building that's happening from just like what's going on, you actually see that holy fucking shit, there is a war going on in Spider-Man.
Oh no, there is, yeah.
And it's like you even look at like the different worlds of the dragons where it's like, oh, so dragons are like, you've got the peacekeeper dragons, right? And they're like literally just warriors. And it's like, oh, okay, let's read into this. Oh, these are the dragons that literally go into fighting to maintain order in the world and shit like this.
Yeah.
And it's like, because I think technically Spyro is an artisan dragon.
Yeah.
But it's like, so he's part of the dragons that are just like the creative ones. But it's like, yeah, the dragon
later stuff, he becomes one of the rarest dragons.
Oh yes, because in the later stuff they have elemental dragons, where it's like each dragon.
Whereas the purple dragon's able to use more than one.
Yes.
So he becomes super rare.
But anyway, so as I said, I'd like to see more. I really want to see a Spyro 4.
Yes.
But I want to see it add some level of complexity beyond what Spyro 3 got to. Because Spyro 3 had so much extra stuff added that you were just like, holy fucking shit. Like, I do not really look forward to my playthrough of that because the worlds are so much bigger. So that's something else you've noticed, like you noticed from Spyro 1 to Spyro 2, the world sizes are generally bigger.
It's because we got better with storage of games and everything like that.
It's got to do with that you don't need the limitations that you used to have.
Yeah.
But the worlds are bigger and they take longer, and then you get to the next one and it's like the worlds are bigger, they take longer, they have more stuff going on.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. But that's part of the joy of gaming.
But with how they do it these days, I think they would aim for open world. Tends to be what everyone does.
I don't know.
It's a tough one. But I suppose they have technically tried the open world. They didn't really go any further with it.
Well, the thing is that if you're going to make a Spyro 4, you would aim to make it as Spyro as possible. And you can still have an open world, because it already kind of did. It had the hub worlds.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the whole point of the hub worlds. One, it gave them ample room to have loading, which meant they could have more variety.
Yes, that's true.
Two, it kind of had a place where it brings all of the parts together. So it's like, if you think about Spyro 1, it's like the Artisan worlds, right? The Artisan home world is this kind of lovely, nice meadow, and then you go to all the worlds and they kind of follow the same theme. And then you go to, the Peacekeepers, and it's the dry desert fighting, whatever. And it's like all the worlds there have similar themes, except for Ice Flight, which is hilariously funny. But there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like, I would like to see the same thing. Like, I would love for the hub world to be more explorable, and like less of the constraints. Like, I would love to see Spyro.
They tend to be quite small in the hub worlds.
Yes, because, well, again, that's sort of a lie as the game got. Like, by the time we hit Spyro 3, you've got quite large hub worlds.
Oh yeah. They did expand, but when you actually look at the other worlds,
oh yeah, like
they tend to be
Artisans was tiny. The original ones were tiny little worlds.
Oh yeah.
There were only 3 in the second game. Like, there were only 3 hub worlds because they increased the size a bit, and they went, oh well, we don't need 7 or 8 hub worlds now. We can just have 3 because we've upped the size and upped the number of portals in each one. Because there were also only like 4 or 5 portals in each of the original games. But anyway, I digress, and we're getting off point. But I would love to see a Spyro game where it's like the hub world is a bit more explorable, but still a hub world, because I think that's one of the big things about Spyro, and I think that's why the later ones didn't really have the thing. It's like, because once you've lost those hub worlds, you kind of lose the whole storyline of what Spyro kind of represents. And what it represents is like, the dragons are kind of like the guardians of these worlds, but they don't live within them.
No.
And each of the dragons had like different, they were caste systems, and they had different like skills, and you kind of got placed where your skills were.
Well, yeah, which makes sense.
Anyway, what else has gone? Oh, I just scratched my card.
Stop scratching it, man.
Just accidentally. Okay. My nails are something sharp.
Not as sharp as the blade, though.
No, not as sharp as the blade. What else is happening channel-wise, Kris?
Obviously the usual. We're planning on doing more recording tonight.
We have to do more recording. Well, actually, we don't. I did a recording the other night, so I have at least another 2 videos there.
Yeah. But ideally we do some recording tonight, so we get a few more.
We have to do some recording tonight.
Get back to having
if you're
some
watching this video, hello, how are you? How's it going? Great to meet you.
Thank
nice
you.
to see you. You'll notice it's Good Friday. Hello, Easter. Woo! Which means on Monday, which I think in the common tongue is known as Easter Monday.
Yes.
In the non-common tongue, it's actually something like.
Not familiar with that.
That's because that's an uncommon tongue.
Can you say it again?
No, I don't actually speak that language.
Oh, that's right.
I can say it in German.
Okay.
Easter Monday, but angry. That's the only thing I know about German. Okay, think about what you want to say. Now you're really mad about it.
Oh, okay.
Easter Monday.
I see. That makes sense.
That's why German is not considered one of the languages of love. No, but yes, as Monday is Easter Monday, there will be a Bunny Man episode coming out, because that is about the only thing I can think about with Easter is the Easter Bunny.
Without doing another Phasmo.
And the truth is, we're all thinking it. You go Christmas, Christmas duck. Easter, Easter bunny.
Exactly.
St. Patrick's Day.
Leprechaun.
Green grizzly bear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where the fuck did grizzly bear come from?
It's just the natural animals of St. Patrick's Day. Really. Yeah. A bright green grizzly bear that will rip both of your arms off. Much like the Irish.
Well, yeah.
No, but yeah, so there will be a bunny man, and then the plan is probably to film that. We might film something else tonight. Kind of hard to say. I am just a little bit all over the place right now. Woo! Yeah. Look, it has not been a very pleasant week for me. Just on the fact alone that I think since Monday I've had like 4 hours sleep.
Solid.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's about the number that you want.
Well, I didn't go to the gym yesterday because I was like literally sitting here like, I'm so fucking tired. If I go to the gym, I'll do like one exercise and then die. Or just die.
No, it's fair. I pretty much crashed when I got home.
Yeah, I was like, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to bed. And I went to bed and I was like, I can't sleep. And I ended up doing some push-ups and I still couldn't sleep. And I was like, oh no, it's going to be one of these ones.
Yeah.
And so I didn't sleep.
They're the best ones.
Yeah. Instead I just watched Castlevania.
I think I managed to get a couple of hours.
That's nice. Yeah, so we have some filming to do. Over the next couple of days, we intend to film our first GTA. I intend to do our first Helldivers because I do want to play that game a lot, and I think it'd be fun to record. And we'll probably do a Deep Rock Galactic, a Raft. Pretty much both me and Kris are off for the next 3 days straight. Well, sorry, the next 2 days because today counted as one of our 3 days off.
Yeah.
But we're both off for that because reasons. It's Easter.
Yeah.
And
well, actually, mine's one of those days. It's because of it being Easter.
And like I think we do have plans to play board games on Friday, but that'll probably be an afternoon, evening thing.
Yeah.
So I should probably be able to get like a couple of hours of filming done this week. And plus, probably not Saturday because it's Saturday.
Do you finish early on Saturday?
But we probably will go out to karaoke and see if it's happening. If it's not happening, it's not happening. But if it is happening, then it's happening. But you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't.
But definitely like Sunday evening. On Sunday evening, I'll make Kris work for hours straight after he's finished work. Because he doesn't start till 8 o'clock on a Monday.
No.
No, you don't start till 8
No,
o'clock?
because they've decided to open at 6 every morning.
On public holidays?
On public holidays.
Are they morons?
Yeah. So
people aren't even awake at 6 on a public holiday.
So
I'm fairly sure 6 doesn't exist on a public holiday.
No, it doesn't. But apparently we open at that time that doesn't exist. So I'm doing the open.
Do they still close at the same time?
As a normal public holiday, yeah.
So they close at 5, but they're like, hey...
No, 6. 6 is the normal closing.
It used to be 8 to 5.
Used to be.
Because they were like... well, one, they were cheap, and two, they were like, considering it's a public holiday and no one's going to be up before...
It changed years ago. It used to be 8 to 5, and then they decided... And then Sunday was 9 till 6.
Yep.
Then... Years ago, this is back when we were the old store, so it's like 6 years ago at this point, they decided we're opening from 7 till 6 every weekend, which now included the public holidays. Now every time a public holiday comes around, it's like 6 till 6.
Why? The whole reason they used to open... Oh, no, the whole reason for opening at 6 is to catch tradies.
Yeah.
Because as someone who was once there at like 6... Well, technically 6:30.
Yeah.
But as someone who was there from 6, I don't know why they rostered me on from 6.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
Because I walked in and they're like, are you setting up a register, Darcy? I was like, nope. And they went, why are you here then? This is like the half hour where we set up our registers and do all this kind of stuff and make sure everything that needs to be ready is ready. I'm like, yeah, I'm just working in flooring from 6 till like, I can't even remember the time.
Yeah.
It was probably from like 6 till like 4.
Sounds right.
And they were like, that's what? And I was like, yeah. And like, that's an incredible long day. I'm like, yeah. And I was like, I don't really care. And they're like, you are not your usual self. I'm like, nah.
No, this is too damn early.
I'm like, come and see me in about 4 hours and I'll be awake. I'm like, but right now I'm just on floor autopilot. So I was like fucking just wandering the store at like 6 a.m. and people, I think one of the managers saw me and was like, go do your work. I'm like, I have no work to do. What? Surely you got something. I'm like, no, because I left last night with my section clean because I'm fucking responsible and no one's messed it up because they know I would murder them in real life.
Yes.
I'm like, so I have nothing to do. Well, the store doesn't open till 6:30. I know. My job is serving customers. There are no customers.
But even then, as soon as it's 6:30 comes on, it's like,
there's
still no customers.
I'm fucking sitting there. I think at one point I just sat there with my head down on the desk for like 20 minutes straight. If I walked up, I was like, you okay? I'll take that as a yes.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's how it goes. It doesn't usually start, like, you start getting some people in about 7:30. Some tradies will walk straight in, but they're the ones that know exactly what they want, and you don't need to help them.
And
it's rare that you
flooring
start
would never
to...
get tradies.
Hell no.
We would get the handymen who came in and were like patching up houses, like the public housing, and they're like,
They won't come in until like near 8.
They were coming in until like 10 o'clock.
Well, the reason I say near
because
8...
they would come in, and the only reason they'd come into us is they'd be like, yeah, so we're doing the cleanup on this house and fixing up anything, and we walked into one of the rooms and fucking, yeah, the carpet's destroyed. Yeah. So we need a new patch of carpet about this. And it's like, okay, sweet. Like, but we had to finish all the other jobs. So we went, well, we've got to paint this room anyway, so we'll paint it while it's got the shitty old carpet in it, and then we'll fucking come and put the new carpet in once that's done, dried.
Makes sense, yeah. But yeah, no, it's you won't get them till later in the day because it's pointless for them to come in earlier.
Yeah, so anyway, this weekend is actually a really good opportunity for us to get a lot of filming done. And then there's, of course, all of next week, which...
You're off?
I will have like 1 or 2 students, if that, because I'll only have people who are like in senior schooling, or I should only have people who are in senior schooling.
True, yeah.
And because I don't have anything to do in the mornings, I'll be like waking up. Like literally next Wednesday, I could literally just say to Kris, we're working 12 till fucking 12. And we could just film all day. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to see Kris that long. I have my limits, but I could do it. I could do it.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that anyway. Generally Wednesdays is the day I still use to get shit done. So it's like mid-afternoon at the earliest. But yes.
That's what I'm saying. You know, usually even like when we do have our Wednesdays off together, it's like we can't do anything until like 5 o'clock at the earliest, which is like kind of today. I actually waited till like 5:30 because I was like, I'll give Kris some time. Give him some time. I let him relax. And then I had a quick like 20-minute kick.
I did the mowing, so I pretty much, if you had messaged me at 5, that's just as I was finishing. I'm like, fuck no, I'm drenched in sweat.
Moron. He likes to do his mowing in the afternoon, which is statistically the worst time to do your mowing.
Well, I gym in the morning.
You could have done it before gym.
That involves waking up early.
Oh, really?
Earlier.
Yeah, earlier, but not early. You could be up at 8, mow. Not be such a numpty about it. Take half an hour instead of 2 hours.
Look, it took ages to do because we've left the front yard for so long.
Morons. You could always do what that guy in the Snowy Mountains did to mow his yard.
Oh shit, I should have.
Yep. That's a file.
I'll just maintain
actually, I don't
this.
think we ever told that story, did we?
I don't know.
Okay, well, let's tell that story, but let's also just wrap up. So,
Yeah.
basically, channel news, we are very, very, very close to having a bunch of new stuff.
Yes.
We will get to Minecraft, okay? We'll also continue with Gears of War, and I will eventually get Kris into Halo. However, the problem with all of that is logistics.
Yeah.
Because I think with Halo, we'll probably end up playing it on our own systems. So the logistics there is, do I get Kris to come around here and fucking bring his gear and we'll set him up somewhere nice and he can do his recording somewhere nice? Or do we do it over the internet? Where if something does go wrong, the chances are I'm not there to help him fix it. And I know that sounds a little bit condescending, but the truth is that I have far more experience with this kind of stuff than Kris.
And I've played around with it twice.
He's really good at his job.
I am, actually.
Well, that's not true either, Mr. I don't know what the colour orange is.
The fuck do you mean by that?
Don't handle this colour.
Yeah, I know what orange is.
Yep, do you?
I do.
Do you remember the conversation we had with a friend of ours and we were talking about the colour of their shirt and you were like, that's red. And I'm sitting there going, it's orange. And you're like, no, we'll ask her when she gets back. She came downstairs and you're like, so your shirt, it's red, right? And she went, no, it's very orange.
In my defense,
it's very, very orange.
I'm fairly certain I was drinking and it was weeks before that we were talking about.
Yeah, it was, but we also asked her and we said, hey, remember that? This is how I asked her. I said, hey, remember a week ago when we were all at someone's place?
I think it was Jaden's
birthday.
Or Oak's Breath. I'm pretty sure that was the night we were messing with her.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And we said, remember that event when you were, and I said, when you were wearing that orange t-shirt, and she went, yes. And I went, I've won the argument.
Well, look, I couldn't remember the colour of the shirt.
Anyway, we will continue this in a second. But first of all, that does end channel news.
It does.
That was a very long one. That was like half an hour of channel news for you.
It was, actually.
And most of it wasn't news. It was just tangents. Welcome to the channel.
We do that. All the time.
No, okay, yeah, but no, this was hilariously funny because it was an argument between me and him about the colour of this shirt that our friend was wearing. And the reason that this argument happened was Kris was once again going like, but I'm the colour expert. And I was like, well, you're a paint expert at Bunnings. I'm like, but...
I didn't say I was a colour expert.
No, the words colour expert came out of your mouth. Because I had to remind you that whilst you are a paint expert at Bunnings, I'm no slouch when it comes to the design and colour and using colours as well.
I don't
Because
go
I spent
into...
4 years of fucking university.
See, I just don't go into the design of it. I pretty
it's
much...
It's not about the design. I was just like, you may know paint colours. I'm like,
I know
but
paint.
I'm also hyper aware of colours because part of my training is like, do these colours go well together? And I'm like, and that shirt was fucking orange. She's like, and then yeah, so when we talked to her, we were just like, hey, you know that orange shirt you wore? She was like, yeah, the orange one. And we're like, yeah, you've solved my argument. And she was very confused by it, but let's not lie.
It's because we didn't tell her the reasoning behind it.
Most people that do have conversations with me are confused because I'm always just like...
Especially in those situations, because we don't tell them why we're asking the question.
It's one of those things I've
and
always
because
found.
You want it, we just stopped.
Yeah.
And then
it's one of those things I found. The reason I talk to most people is to prove that I'm correct.
The main reason she was confused, though, was because she was waiting for a further question.
Nope.
Because she said, because she'd answered it without you having to ask another one, she got super confused.
That's why it pays to know how to approach situations. But yeah, no, fucking, I don't mix words. I just go straight in, get my answer, get out.
This is why with you, I was like, I wait like 10 seconds, but
is he going to
nothing.
Continue? Okay, but that's just because I'm also just sometimes I'll just make statements and then I'll just be like, that statement goes nowhere else.
No, it doesn't. It should go somewhere else.
It's like, no, but you just said this, and it's like, no, that's all I wanted to say.
No, see, it's because you say it in such a way that it's normally how people would a sentence to continue. It's not a question. That you say a statement that it's like the way you've said it's like, okay, there's more to this statement. He's not saying anything else.
Okay, I think I can actually attest to that. Do you know how I'm fantastic, wonderful, and great?
No.
He's lying. Of course he knows that. No, but like literally, the reason someone makes a statement and then says something else is because they're backing up the validity of their statement.
That is true. But
whereas I'm just like, this is a statement. That is all. And they're like, no, but you haven't backed up its validity.
No, it's like, the inflection with the statement.
The fact that I've made this statement means that the statement is correct.
No, it's the inflection of this statement. It's the way you end saying it. It's the tone that we tend to use. Like, when you're making a statement, you generally stop at the end. And it's like, everyone knows, like, yeah, no, they're done with that. But it's the specific way that you say it that anyone else would be like, he's got more to say because of the way he finished saying that sentence. Maybe then sometimes. He just doesn't say anything else. It is a sometimes thing. It's not an every time thing. But
again, that just kind of comes from, like, you know, me being wonderful, great, and awesome. Just a lot of the time, I'm actually thinking about how I'm phrasing my statements. Because I spend a lot of time thinking about the fact that people often misinterpret what I'm actually saying to them.
That is true.
And I'm like, I'll say something, they're like, oh yeah, but that's not really what I'm talking about. I'm like, no, sorry, you don't understand. I'm not having a debate with you about this topic. I'm correct here, you are incorrect. And like, that's, I know we joke and we're like, oh, Darcy's a fucking egomaniac and shit like this. Very much true. However, I'm also someone who, I don't tend to get in arguments with people unless I actually know about the topic I'm talking about.
Well, yeah, that's
and
fair.
And usually that involves arguments with people who know nothing about the topic they're talking about. So I refuse to sit there and listen to someone who knows nothing telling me something about something that they know absolutely nothing about. It's like one of our good mates the other night at the pub, he was very drunk, but he started trying to tell me about human anatomy, and I said, stop right there, I'm not going to have this conversation with you. And I went, I'm not an expert on this topic. I'm like, but I know for a fact that I would talk you under the fucking table because you know nothing about this topic.
I don't remember that conversation.
It was with John.
I assumed it was John.
Yeah.
But I knew
it
that.
was a night you weren't there, but we were also there talking. And we were talking about something. And he decided he would talk academics with me. I'm like, John, stop right there. Don't get started. I'm like, one, you're drunk. And drunk John makes bad choices. 2, I love you, John, but you are not. I'm like, I look at this table and there are probably 3 people here who I would consider my intellectual equals.
Fair.
And I'm like, and even if you ask them, they're probably pushing it to say that they are.
Well, yeah.
I'm like, if I'm being honest, the person I think is probably closest to me, where I find like my balancing point here, is probably Cam. Caleb is incredibly intelligent.
He is,
but even he has admitted, I'm probably smart.
No, that's right.
He is definitely more intelligent when it comes to legal matters, because that's what he studied. But in terms of just pure intellectual power, I have him.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It also means that, you know, I'm quite a socially awkward person. I don't go out and just start talking to people.
Unless you're drunk.
Unless I'm super drunk. Yeah. Because I sit there and I watch people, and I go, okay, well, this is how you engage with people.
Yeah.
So I like to understand how the person I will be talking to engages with other people before I just go in there willy-nilly. Unlike John, who just, because he's a drunken idiot, will literally just...
he doesn't even do that when he's drunk. People. It's like, even when he's sober, it's straight into it. It's like, how? How does he fucking do it? How? I still struggle to do that when I'm drunk.
I can have a perfectly happy conversation with someone I've just met.
Oh no, I can too.
It's just that...
No, but when you said you sit back, you pay attention, you figure it out.
I analyse my situation.
See, I do the same thing, but then I don't go into that.
No, I
don't take that extra step to actually go into a conversation. It's like, you know what?
No, I do because I don't want to come off as a antisocial dickhead. But I'm just like, hey. I'm not. I like to watch things and be like, I want to see how you react, how you handle social situations, because I really don't like people who are just like, every social situation is the same to me. I come in and I'm loud, I'm boisterous, I'm this, I'm that. I try and I'm the center of attention. It's like, you don't know how to read a room.
No.
And if I'm being perfectly honest, that is John in a nutshell.
It's just,
and we've all said that to him hundreds of times because he often puts his foot in his goddamn mouth.
All the time, yeah.
Yeah.
He does.
And you just go, John, you need to learn to read a room. He goes, no, that's not what I do. And you go, man, you're almost 30. You're beyond the point of childish charm now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I only read the room. It's like...
It's a very important skill to have.
Yeah.
But anyway. So, yeah, I don't like to do that, especially with drunk people.
Yeah.
But the truth is, I end a lot of things where it's like, no, this is a fact. I don't need to back it up because this is a fact. It's a known fact. And a lot of the facts I know are known facts. And everyone's kind of sitting there going, yeah, that's a known fact. But then because some people just like to argue, they'll be like, no, but... And you go, no, stop. Now you're just getting into the belligerent phase of you and I.
Oh, yeah.
And I just hate dealing with that because I'm like, you know... I said to Caleb the other night when we were all there with Jordan and stuff. Yeah. He was like, Jordan's a very smart person. I'm like, Jordan is knowledgeable in what Jordan needs to know.
Yeah.
I'm like, and that is in itself a very big part of knowledge.
Yeah.
I'm like, Jordan needs to know electricity for his job. And
Correct.
If you were to ask any of us here, Jordan is definitely the one you would be going to about any electrical questions.
Oh, of course.
Because he fucking lives and breathes this shit.
Yes.
I'm like, where all of this intelligence talk comes in is actually the ability to pick up these things.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's kind of where I'm like, and that's the thing that people don't understand. That's why people are like, oh, you're a fucking, especially me. I get this all the time. Like, we know so many people who are just like, oh, you're just a fucking smart ass, show off, whatever. It's like, no, I just spend a lot of time learning because I find it pleasurable. But I'm not a master of really much. But I have a lot of little bits of information, and I enjoy sharing them with people because I think it's fascinating. Also, I have like this whole philosophy thing where it's like, learn something, you idiot, because there's no excuse for you not to learn.
No.
You can't use ignorance as a thing of saying like, oh, I didn't know, because at the world we live in, there's no excuse for you not knowing.
Well, especially when you've got people who actually have learning difficulties. So, and it's an actual thing, outpacing said people. That shouldn't be happening. If you've got no learning difficulties...
The state of the world we live in at the moment is incredibly wide open for you to be able to learn however the fuck you want. You don't have to learn it all in classrooms from books. You have the ability to go and seek this information. The people that don't know this information are willingly ignorant, and I think that is the biggest sin you can commit, being willingly ignorant. But then, like, if you want to be willingly ignorant, be willingly ignorant. However, then don't get involved in conversations about this thing because you have chosen to know nothing about it.
Yeah. No.
But, as I said that night with you guys, there's different levels of intelligence.
Oh, yeah. Of course there is.
And there's what everyone goes is like smart, and it's like, well, smart is really just your ability to learn, how quickly you can learn, and it's the worst one. And everyone goes, "Oh, but I'm not smart." It's like, I'm incredibly smart. Do you know what that led to? Laziness. I don't grind things out because I've never had to.
True. Yeah.
So when things actually get hard, I find it very hard to do things because I'm not used to having to grind things out. I'm used to things just clicking, going, and just off I go. Whereas when I actually physically have to, like, there's no quick click and off you go. It's like you have to put in all this hard work. I find that incredibly taxing because that's not how I do things.
Yeah, no.
So smart is the most irrelevant and easy to overcome because the way you overcome it is just by doing work. and it's the most overrated. Then you've got wisdom. Wisdom comes with age. The older you are, the more you see, the more wise you're supposed to become, because you're actually supposed to learn from situations you've been in.
Yeah.
I think we're losing that a little bit, but but that's kind of like the next step. Then there's experience. Experience is not age-based, it's life-based. So the more you go, the more you do, the more experience you have, the more you learn. Again, providing you are opening yourself up to the opportunities of learning. And learning isn't this rigid thing, as I said, where you read a book and you go, now I know. Learning is a thing where it's like, it's a living experience.
And everyone learns different anyway.
Exactly.
Some people aren't good at reading a book to figure it out.
Exactly.
They've got to see it, or they've got to...
Learning is a lived experience. So, experience comes from the living side of learning. You do things, and that is where Jordan absolutely crushes me in things like electrical stuff.
Yeah.
He lives it every day. He's experienced it every day. He knows what he's doing. He is incredibly intelligent with it. Experience is a massive builder to your knowledge.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's the one that I put the highest. And I put this the highest because of what it is, and that's learned. Now, learned is a fancy term for saying you've actually taken the time to learn about these topics.
Yeah.
It requires dedication, time, and effort. It is the highest ranked on my list because, and again, Jordan is learned about being an electrician because he's done all the work. I'm not. Yeah. Could I catch up to him? Probably.
Yeah.
If I wanted to, I could probably learn, especially the theoretical side, I could probably breeze through that.
Probably.
Because it's all just mathematics. It's kind of my strong point.
On the other end of it,
the physical side, absolutely not, because I hate dirt.
Well, yeah. Fair enough.
For anyone who's like, they've been like, oh, what do you mean by you hate dirt? I literally stand there screaming at it every time I see it. It's a joke. I do that to the sun.
Exactly.
You fucking bastard. Darcy, what are you doing? Sorry, I'm just getting my grievance out of the sun. I'll kill you.
How are you going to do that?
Punch it right in its stupid face.
Ooh. I feel like the sun's still going to win.
Probably, but I'm coming for it. I don't care if I doom this whole planet and every living thing on it. I'm taking him out. Just not a fan, okay? Stupid glowy bastard.
Oh, no, you're not. That's a fan.
No, but yeah, so, like, then you've learned it. And learned I put the highest because learned is, you can't accidentally, you're not, like, you can be born smart with certain things click in a certain way.
Yeah.
Just living can get you experience and wisdom.
Yeah.
But learned actually takes effort, and anyone who puts in that effort to learn something is someone who should be respected in what they know.
Yes.
And that is a lot of who I am. And that's why, like, you know, a lot of my conversations with people are about their interests, because their interests, one, can give you a lot of information about things you've never thought about, can give you their perspective, and can just open a whole world of possibilities to you. And if someone's actually passionate about something, they're amazing. It's amazing to talk to them, and you can have a real connection with someone if you talk to them about something that they're passionate about, because you're actually showing interest in them as a person. And so it's very, very easy to have these conversations with people. Yeah, that's enough about that.
So the other thing we want to talk about. Mowing the lawn.
Yeah, well,
without a lawn numpty. That was... It just needed to be done. That's all it was. It just needed to be done, so I got it ended. That's just how that happened.
He's a real numpty.
However, back to the thing we were
so
going to say.
Pretty much like, as many of you who watch the channel know, we went on our snow trip. You can go see that podcast.
Yes.
And
so on the way there, on our final leg of the trip down there.
Yeah. So to give some kind of understanding of the lads who were in the car, Jordan has done a little bit of interstate city travel.
Yes.
So he's been down south to some of the other cities.
But he's more just get on a plane, get there.
Get on a plane, get there. And I think he's seen a few small towns down south.
I mean, he's done traveling to go camping and stuff, but
that's all in-state, though.
Yeah, it is.
I'm talking about, like, actually seeing the rest of Australia.
Well, yeah, no, fair. Fair.
I know he's, like, seen Portugal for work and shit like that.
Yeah.
But, again, like, I remember the very first time he brought up, like, oh, yeah, we're at this small town called Port Augusta, and I was like, oh, yeah, Port Augusta. And he was like, but you know that place? I was like, yeah, man. Yeah, I know it.
Yeah.
It smells funny.
Hence the name.
But yeah, so like I know he's done a little bit of stuff like that, but I don't think he's ever actually just travelled there on his own free will. So it's been like, oh, it's part of work, or if he has travelled somewhere, it's been like, I'm going to this city, I'm going to that city. I'm going. I don't think you've ever been out of Queensland at that point.
No. I'd never actually crossed the borders.
And
well, it's just I'd been. I was still in Queensland waters at the very least.
Yeah. And then there was me, who road trips are sort of a part of my way of life.
I mean, it's how I always travel.
Before the snow trip, the last big road trip I'd done was Sydney to Rocky. We did that in a day. When I was a kid, we used to road trip all the time. Pretty much New South Wales, Victoria, and South Australia, I know very, very well because I've seen a lot of them on the road. Yeah. And, you know, Australia's a big place and there's a lot of different people. So anyway, we are in the snowy mountains. They are in New South Wales. We're driving along. Nothing I've really seen has fazed me so far because I'm kind of used to seeing the weird and wonderful side of small, very small town living.
And then we started to see some smoke. We were just wondering what the fire was.
So it's the Snowy Mountains. Very early spring, so everything's just kind of starting to come back. Lots of long, very dry, very flammable grass. We're driving along in these mountains, big rocks everywhere, and we're kind of like, very nice, very scenic view.
It was nice.
Very beautiful. But
especially before we got to
as Kris mentioned, there's like smoke. No, that's part of why he was burning his yard.
Oh, well, yeah, of course.
But there's smoke, and then we like drive up and we see these flames and there's this big fire, and there's a house and there's a bunch of giant fucking boulders around.
Yep.
Now this was you are right. This was before we were up in the area where there were the really big boulders, where it was like that guy bought a block of land, and he got 10 bits of grass and a billion boulders.
Yes.
But like. This place was like more grass than boulders, but still big boulders all over his yard.
Yeah.
And we're watching there and we're like, is that an...
initially we thought he was trying to put it out. And
we're like, see this guy and he's kind of like standing there with this big fire and he's like kind of moving around. We're like, oh, no, I don't know what's happened, but somehow... I actually thought it was a cigarette to begin with. I thought he might have been out behind the rocks smoking and like dropped his cigarette and gone like, oh, fuck. But no, then we realised he was literally lighting it all on fire himself.
Yep.
We're like sitting there and we're like, what is he doing? And then we're looking at the grass and we're like, he's mowing. He's mowing his lawn. Yeah. And we're all kind of sitting there and contemplating why. And Jordan probably was the one that came up with the best answer. He's like, there's so many boulders there, it's probably just easier than getting a lawnmower out.
It would be so much easier.
That's a good point, Jordan. He's like, yeah. I'm like, not really the way I would go about mowing my lawn. Time to start a giant fucking fire. Hope that doesn't burn my house down. But yeah, that seems to be what they were doing, and we then spent the next like 5-10 minutes debating the merits of mowing one's lawn with flame. Whilst also talking about, that's just how these country folk are, I suppose.
Yeah.
Classic country folk. They just they do what they do. And they don't care what you think.
No, that's true, yeah.
But yeah, no.
I think we ended up with could be a bit of fun.
Oh, yeah, I enjoy it. I like setting things on fire.
Oh, look, I would enjoy it as well. Quicker. Setback. Little warm.
Setback. Incredibly easy to lose control of it.
Especially if it's windy.
And then everything in your vicinity just disappears. Gone.
Yep. So there's a few setbacks. My first one was Little Warm. Yes, obviously the next one is losing control, losing everything.
The massive destruction of property and possibly the entire towns. Yeah, that kind of ranks a bit higher than it's a bit toasty.
Yes.
But yeah, no, it's like that's kind of like the whole kind of one of the things is like
He's forgotten what he was going to say.
No, I just kind of
trying to figure out
mention the fact that it's done. Like that's all. That's where that story ends.
It is. Yeah.
And now I'm going back to something I said earlier because I brought it up earlier, so I might as well talk about it.
Yeah.
I find it so fucking just mind-boggling.
Yeah.
It boggles the mind for me that we know so many people who are in their mid to late 20s.
Yeah,
who have never gone further afield than Brisbane.
Yeah.
And even our good buddy John, who has, for his credit, gone further afield than Brisbane. He's gone to Melbourne, but he didn't really do anything in Melbourne because he got sick. He spent 3 of the 4 days or whatever in a hotel room, so he never actually really experienced.
He got the last day, and he still wasn't great, but he was like, "Screw it, I'm getting at least one day out of this."
Mm.
Yeah,
and so that's unfortunate, but I just the thing is though, I mentioned earlier that one of my big road trips was Sydney to Rocky in a single day, and that was done spur of the moment. Me and my buddy were just like, "What are you doing for holidays?" I was like, "Fuck all." "What are you doing for holidays?" He's like, "Fuck all." "What do you want to do?" I was like, "I don't know." He's like, "Do you want to go see your family?" I was like, "I suppose." He's like, "Cool, we'll go see your family. Yeah, this weekend we'll just drive down." Well, technically drive up, but...
Well, yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, we literally did a 15.5-hour road trip one way. It was 31 hours for the entire trip.
Yeah.
Plus the 48 hours we spent here.
Yeah.
Good time management.
100%.
But yeah, so that was spontaneous. But that's how easy road trips are.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Because Australia it's big, don't get me wrong, massive, huge, gigantic. But it's also amazing. So, and you can just get in a car and drive, and maybe it's 10 hours, maybe it's 12 hours, maybe it's 2 days later, but you're somewhere completely different.
Oh yeah.
And that's kind of what the snow trip was for us. We left here, and we're talking to people back here, and they're like, sunny days, look, it's classic weather, and we're like, yeah, we're in the fucking snow.
Yeah.
I'm on a fucking mountain. Jordan is lying on the ground in front of me. This is, and that was just 2 days driving. The opportunity is there for everyone, and the thing that really boggles my mind is people are like, yeah, but why would you want to go anywhere else? It's like, just to see other places.
It's a pretty fucking straightforward thing.
You get in the car and you just start driving, and you might say, here's where I want to end up, but you might. The things you see along the way, are just insane. We pretty much straight arrowed it straight through to the snow. Yeah. No real sidetracks. We did give ourselves a bit of time on the way back for sidetracks, but we didn't end up using that. Probably just because we were exhausted at that point. Yeah,
and then once we got back into Queensland, there wasn't really much for us to see on the way back because we'd been there before.
Yeah,
multiple times.
But when we first started planning, we had made arrangements so that we could go to Sydney and stuff, and the boys could see my old stomping grounds, and we had a whole list of options open to us that we could choose or not choose depending on what we fucking felt like. But for me, I just find it so funny when people go to me, "Oh yeah, but why would you? Oh yeah, I've been to Brisbane a heap. I don't want to go anywhere else." It's like.
Oh, and then it's the
Ask Kris what it was like when we transferred from Queensland into New South Wales. Then all of a sudden we're driving along on this super flat piece of road, and then either side of us are just fucking mountains, and the sun's shining through the mountains, and it was fucking stunning.
Oh, it
It was
nice.
beautiful.
It was good.
And it's like, do you see that in Queensland? Yeah, sometimes.
I mean, we've got mountains here, but
But like, just that one point, everything was like perfectly where we wanted it to be.
yeah,
And it all just came together and made this one experience on our trip that was memorable.
because it just ended up being a bunch of jokes. Like you see, even once we got into New South Wales, it was a bunch of jokes.
Oh, absolutely.
It was a
And
bunch of jokes
were
of
having-
seeing a sign of a rough surface. And it's like,
Oh, we hit a bottle.
it's like, oh,
Was that the rough surface? Must be.
must have been. It's like, that's better than the standard roads in Queensland.
I think my personal favourite was the one where it's like rough roads ahead and we're driving, and it's like rough roads finished. It's like,
Where was the rough road?
and then I think like because
That was the
I
best
did
thing.
actually notice that on our drive back.
Yeah.
I saw that sign again. I went, oh wait, no, there's gravel on the road. There's some gravel.
yeah, I do remember that. It's one of those funny things, and that's the difference of here to
But
there.
there was also those jokes. There were all the jokes. There was all the stuff when we accidentally ended up in a bike race.
And Jordan was asleep for all of it.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Hey Jordan, we won a bike race.
like,
Wait, what? We're in a car. It's like, yeah, look, we joined it.
oh,
We won.
well, now that we're here, I feel we could win it. But you know, like these are the types of things that like so many people I know, like, oh yeah, I'm traveling, I'm flying to Brisbane. It's like, okay, fly to Brisbane. That's cool. Have you considered driving to Brisbane? Yeah, it takes a little bit more time, but you know, have you considered it? No.
See, I've never actually. The only time I've flown to a place is for work.
No,
Outside of that, I tend to actually drive.
I used to fly to Brisbane all the time, but that's because I was flying to Sydney and I have to go to Brisbane.
Yeah, and that makes sense. But it's like if you're doing an actual trip, I've always
Oh, I always want to drive because
I've
I like to
always-
get places and have a car.
I was always driven, and like even when we were younger, we always drove. There was no flying or anything like that. Now that could have been the whole having to buy 6 plane tickets,
Possibly.
but we always drove.
Well, my thing is this, right? Because, like, obviously, as mum and dad got older, they didn't want to drive as much. But, like, car trips
Sure.
when I was a kid was, like... I don't know if I ever told you. When I was, like, it would have been about 7. Because it was before Kalisha was born.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it would have been a hell of a trip. Because 3 people in the back seat and a car seat in the back. But
Oh, it sucked.
we went 6 weeks.
Yeah.
6 weeks, and we went up the east coast of Australia, into the middle of Australia, back down, back along the south coast, back home. That was a 6-week trip.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of the days, like, yeah, there was like 2 or 3 days where we were like, okay, we're in one of the places we want to stop, so we're here for the next couple of days.
Yeah.
So that was places like, it seems like a joke now, but Alice Springs.
Yeah.
And the reason it seems like a joke if you're not Australian is that Alice Springs has a massive crime problem right now. But that's where I was born, and that's where my parents still have quite a few friends.
Yeah.
Or they did back 24 years ago.
Yeah.
Shit, yeah, it was 24 years ago. It was 2000. Shit. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, so we stopped there, and you know, it wasn't as bad back then. It was still pretty bad, but it wasn't as bad.
Yeah.
And we stopped here. That was the very first time I'd ever been to Rockhampton. Because we stopped here overnight because Dad had some family, so we said, we stopped. I think we stayed here overnight, caught up with them, and then left the next day. So these were like 10 to 12 hour days sometimes, just in a car driving, but just to see places. And so I love it. I love getting in a car and driving. If I have to be somewhere,
Oh yeah.
I take the plane because I'm not a fucking idiot. But like our trip down to the snow, everyone was saying to me, "Oh, you're flying down there? You're flying down there? You're gonna fly to Sydney and then get a high car?" And I was like, "No, I'm gonna take a car from here to there." Oh, why would you do that? I'm like, because on the way back, I can meander my way up along the east coast.
Yeah.
I'm like, on
Yeah,
the
we
way
did
there.
that, but-
On the way there, we had a very strict schedule because we were like, this is the day we need to be there by.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to leave too early because I was like, if we do decide that there's nothing we really want to see on the way down, we don't have a place to stay extra. Like we don't really want the extra place to stay.
We stay
short trip, like planning. The way I planned it was get there as quickly as possible. So the 2 days to get there. Well, technically a day and a half.
Yeah, because
we did lose a lot of time shopping.
Yeah, we did that.
But I bought that bag that was full of contraband.
That I found.
What?
The bag.
Oh yeah.
The duffel bag. You were looking for it. You couldn't find it. Like, hey, what about that one? Is that?
Yeah. And when I opened up this bag, I was like, it was full of plastic bags. And I was like,
zip that back up.
I'm gonna do so much polluting.
And then we ended up using them.
We did actually. But anyway, I digress. So our plan was we got to the snow as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
But then I told the boys, plan it so that you've got a week to get back home. I'm like, if we get back home faster, that's fine. And we did get back home faster.
We sort of just went the same way to get
We
back.
did, but it took us an extra day because we stopped in Canberra. We actually went and did the Canberra things.
Yeah.
Like, we probably wouldn't stop in Canberra again unless we took more people with us and they wanted to do the Canberra stuff.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff in Canberra that I would say, like, the War Memorial. I think that everyone should do the War Memorial.
Yeah.
I think Jordan got a lot out of the War Memorial.
Yeah.
He was very, very much just like wandering around. I was like, awesome.
Yeah.
I'm like, I was.
But they limit your time in there. So
no, that was because it's under renovation.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it was under renovation, so we had a limited time, but only because of that. Usually, you can just go in there. No, although we were very lucky because we did go there, and they were like, "Yeah, we've had cancellations."
They're like, "Did you have a booking?" We needed one. Well, we've had a couple of cancellations. You just go.
Yeah. But so unfortunately, we went there during a renovation time, so we didn't get to go and see a lot. Like, we didn't get to go and see the main epitaph. Is it the epitaph? I can't remember what it's called. Pretty much where they've got like every name ever, like of every Australian soldier who's ever died written down in the reflecting pool.
Yeah, so there would be actually a reason for us to stop there again.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, even if it was only just the three of us, we could definitely stop.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be a reason to stay in Canberra.
Oh no,
we'd stop there for like an hour.
Yeah.
But like if we did go again, like so we could do that. We could hit up like if we came with more people, we could hit up Questacon again.
Yeah.
And for us, there's probably no reason to do it again. But for others, like depending on who we took, they might actually like to go to Parliament House.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we can also make the joke the same. We can get the same joke that fucking security guard said to me when we were there, which is when I was like, "Hold on, boys, let me put my belt on so my pants don't fall down in Parliament House." And the security guard looked at me and went, "That would not be the first time something like that's happened in Parliament House. Much worse things happen here." And we were just like, "Oh no."
Yeah,
because it turns out politicians are fucking giant children.
Yeah.
Then we went into the Senate and we saw the corner where everyone pees. At least that's the only reason I can understand why their carpet would be so wet there.
Yeah. And then we went into the room that says
no photography.
No photography of any kind, no photos, videos, anything. And everyone had their phones out. Everyone.
Well, that's what I loved about it. Like, I was like, oh, lots of these places say no photography. And then the lady walks up and goes, "Oh yeah, you just pull out your phone, download the app." I'm like, and you'll have a map. And I'm like, awesome. I'm like, but that also means that it's very hard for you to stop me taking photos, because if you see me with my phone out, I could be taking photos, or I could just be looking at the app.
And here's the thing: even if they were to walk up to you and be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" You just quickly change to the map.
Sorry, I've just got my phone out so I can look at the app map.
And you can literally go, "Yeah, see."
The same map.
Yeah.
Map.
And they could go, "Oh yeah, no, fair enough." And do you know how hard it is to close your camera? It's a quick button press and a flick. Something that they're not even going to fucking notice. Done.
Anyway, yeah, so, like, there would be reasons to stop there again, but probably if it's just the three of us, not an overnight stay. But if more people were with us, then it's like, okay, yeah, we'll book an Airbnb or some shit and just stay overnight.
Yeah, because we.
But like, there is always a reason to meander around, and that's kind of what we planned. Like, we were like, we'll get down next week.
There's going to be more because I know Jaden wants to go next year.
Jaden doesn't live here.
No, well, his thing was flying into Sydney and then sort of coming up. If like Daniel wanted to go as well or something like that, it's like get a lift with Daniel and then sort of meet us on the way. That's because he knows that we're going to do this every 2 years or something similar every 2 years anyway. That he's like, hey, I'd like to go next time. It's like, yeah, we've got a few people that want to go as well.
Yes, well, as I said, there's a big difference, and you guys came across this when you met planning Darcy last January.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, guys, I actually need okays on this. I don't
didn't need my okay, because my okay came from the start and it wasn't changed.
Yeah, but I was like, yeah. Pretty much, I know a lot of people here are currently being like, yo, you got a snow trip planned? I'm like, fuck, yeah, I do. Because I love the snow.
Yeah.
Do I want to break my ankles in a terrible downhill accident? Yes. Yes, I do.
That's the best way to do it?
That's the only way I'm going to do it. That's how I live. Anyway, no, but like a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I would love to go. And I'm like, okay. We're not in the stages yet of planning this. I'm like, but I'll start looking at numbers. I'm like, I'll start planning now. It's going to be midwinter because me and the boys did shoulder last year. It was good last time. It was good. We enjoyed it. But we all decided that we want to go full peak.
Oh yeah.
We want to go full peak. We want to be snowed on top of.
Yes.
I want a reason to wear my ninja hood.
It's too fucking hot to wear that.
No, I still needed to wear it because of my fucking long hair. Which is
yeah, true.
the only real thing that needs to happen between now and then is let my hair get back long. So then I look like a proper snowboarder.
Yeah, that's fair.
But like, I'm like to people, yeah, and then and if we go peak season, I'll buy goggles this year. That year.
Oh yeah, I
guess
guess
I'm going to be like.
you probably need them.
But like that's going to be like the whole thing. It's like I'm like to people, yep, it's happening. I'm like, it's happening. It's a thing that is happening. Yes. It's not like, oh yeah, we're planning it. Might. I'm like, no.
It's going to happen.
I'm like, I've said, 2025 we'll hit the same mountain.
Yep.
It's a mountain town that we know. We're a little bit comfortable with it. We just want to see it in full snow. And it's like, and then after that, then we'll start exploring other places.
Yeah. Which is potentially going overseas or that shit.
Yeah. But I was just like, the big one is that a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I'd love to come. I'm like, well, this is your forewarning. I'm like, because come January, February next year, that's when I'm going to be like, boom, 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 boom. Who have we got?
We need definite yeses, and you can't. If you say yes now, that's it.
If you say yes now and you pull out, it doesn't matter. You're paying because we'll be booking you a spot.
Yes.
And I'm like, but that's kind of the whole thing. And it's like because it's like, you know, for a lot of these people, it's a once in a lifetime trip. For me, it's a once every 2 year trip.
For me, I've been told it's once every 2 year trip.
Don't have a choice. But that's kind of the whole thing. I'm just like, if you want to do it, say yes.
Yeah.
But be prepared because come next year, I'm going to be going like bam, bam, bam.
Because I'm
booking these places.
Technically, you can start looking at costs in the next couple of months. But that's only to get rough prices.
Yeah. I've already kind of got rough prices on some of the stuff. But as I said to you and Jordan whilst we were there, like, this is one of the few things where it's like, people are like, oh, but like, if I come, it becomes more expensive. Like, actually, no. It's like...
No, it becomes cheaper.
The price of the house is the price of the house. I'm like, now we couldn't stay where we stayed unless we were only taking our significant others.
Yes.
Because there were only 3 beds.
Yes.
And I may love the lads, but fuck off.
Pretty much. I'm the same on that one. Yeah. No, it's yeah.
Like, these are things I'm like, okay, if you want to come. Like, it's, you know...
We're not stopping.
End of the day, you're actually making it a lot cheaper because we have to book a bigger place that's a little bit more expensive, but it's like, we're talking about, like, instead of being, like, 12 grand, it's, like, 16 grand. And it's like, and if we have, like, 5 extra people, that's 16 grand between 5, not 16 grand between... Not 12 grand between 3.
Yeah, it does actually become cheaper.
So it's like, what you do is
the other costs stay the same.
It's like everything else stays the same. So it's like, but the per price of the apartment comes down a lot. So it's like, instead of being like a 4 grand instead of being like a $6,000 holiday each, it's now like a $3,000 holiday each because so much of that cost is the apartment.
Yeah, no, that was exactly right.
But it's also like at the same time, and as we said, like when people were getting our Snapchats and we're just fucking chilling there, they're like, "Oh, that's so nice." Or we thought you'd be like staying in a hotel, and we're like, "No, we do this fucking night." But yeah, we could have stayed in a hotel for a lot cheaper and just had like a room, and had to go down to the bar, and we probably would have met more people that way.
Yeah,
but that wasn't really our goal. Our goal wasn't to go and as Jono said, "Why are you guys going out?" Where, Jono? We're in. Again, this is where I go like,
and it was in the
he
shop.
hasn't travelled.
No.
And I'm like, you're aware this is like literally we've walked from one end of the town to the other most days.
Yeah.
Like, there's not, it's not like there's a fucking 20 pubs and shit. It's like there's probably like 300 residents.
Yes. Yeah, it's not much.
No.
And then even to get to the next place, you're driving for like half an hour.
Down to Jindabyne.
Yeah. But even having said that, you're not doing that because, well, drinking every day.
A lot. But yeah, so like that's the thing, like we do exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
We rent out a place with all of our friends. We take the Switch and all that kind of stuff, so we've got shit to do at night. We take board games and all that kind of stuff. And, because the thing is, and we stock up on a fuck ton of alcohol. Maybe we have to take 2 cars this time instead of 1.
No, I think it'll definitely be 2.
As it, we like...
Well, let's face it, even if we got 1 extra person, it's like... Jordan didn't have a lot of space.
No, but that's also because we had the fridge.
Yeah, true.
And we've decided that we wouldn't take the fridge again.
No.
Because
we just buy everything there.
Well, we wouldn't buy everything there, because I'm not 100% sure how peak season and off-season prices go.
Yeah,
but it's 2 hours from Canberra to Thingo.
Yeah.
And we could also just shop in Jindabyne.
Yeah.
But, like, it's 2 hours from Canberra to Thing, and, like, we didn't really need the fridge to keep everything cold. It's not like we bought anything that was...
And let's face it, we'll be going in winter.
With the right packing and, like, just one of those cold shopping bags, we could probably keep everything that needs to be cold long enough.
Yeah, it'll be midwinter, so it's going to be cold.
If we think that things start to get a bit warm, we can just stop and have snow.
Yes, we could. 100% good.
But no, like, so yeah, that's kind of my thing. So like, we'd actually save a bit of room, which means we could put a little bit more in the back, which means that there'd probably be room for 4. I think if we needed to, we could have fit 4 people in this trip.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been the most comfortable thing in the back, but there would have probably also been more rotation.
Oh, then again, if we went with more, we probably would have actually hired what we were originally looking at.
I said from 4. If we went up to 4, I would have not hired just because it was still about that added an extra $3,000.
True, yeah.
So like, if we can get away without hiring, I don't want to hire.
True.
Plus, there's the whole issue technically when you're hiring cars about not driving them into snowy conditions, especially here in Australia, because not a lot of places have snow insurance.
That's true.
But yeah. Basically, yeah, this trip, there's a lot of people that want to come with us, and I'm like, if we want to come. We'll plan it out. Like, we'll figure this shit out. We'll get there. Like, because you can also, like, when you've got 2 cars, you can plan things out a lot better. Like, you can just be like, okay, so this car's going to hold most of the people, and this car's going to hold most of the shit.
Yeah,
and then you just say, and just fucking sit on the
tail.
tail.
Holds the food. This one holds the food, this one holds the alcohol.
But yeah, it's just like, sit on my fucking tail and follow me. Because I know where I'm going, you don't.
Yeah.
Whatever. But, like, that's kind of the whole thing. And then you just kind of go, like, yeah, like, we can get everyone down there. But as I said, I reckon we could have got 4 in there.
Oh, yeah.
The only difference would have been, instead of Jordan just having the back to himself and never changing, we probably would have, like, rotated who was sitting in the front more often. And, like,
100%.
the driver, when the driver wasn't driving, they'd probably rotate into the back where they can get, a little bit of, like, squishy through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But, like, there wasn't a real...
for us to look at.
As Jordan said, it probably wasn't the most comfortable thing in the back, but it's like, again, that's just because again, it's because there comes a point as an adult where you're just not used to sitting in a back seat. You're used to sitting in a chair that's like conformed to a person more, like the front seats of cars. But the truth is that, you know, it wasn't a real big issue.
No.
Anyway, Snow Trip 2025. I'm excited. Are you excited? Probably not, because you probably won't be there. Unless it's Jaden, in which case you definitely won't be there, Jaden. You live in Perth.
We're not picking you up.
I'm not coming to get you. We've been through this last week. Anyway, guys, thank you for making it to the end of another video. If you have liked it, with our crazy rants on knowledge and all of that kind of shit, please consider liking, sharing, commenting, or subscribing. If you want to see more stuff from me and Kris, there's a whole fuck ton of shit now. Like, so much.
There's heaps.
There's so much. And, you know,
far more than the last channel.
Lots of video gaming, lots of kind of podcasts. You know, as many of people have talked about, because I'm so knowledgeable and Kris is so gullible, I would like to see us do like a fact one where we like talk about like mysteries and shit. Where I'm the guy who's like, this is how we explain this, and Kris is the guy's like, but what about ghosts, man? But of course, and we'd love to do some stuff like that, but of course, you know, not right now. That's kind of future expansion stuff.
Yeah.
This podcast is more of our weekly kind of deluge into the lives and thoughts of two insane people. But we would always love to do more, so if you want to support us, please consider liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, because the more support we get, the more we can do.
Yeah, exactly.
And the more you can see Kris's ugly face. And if that's not reward in itself, it's not.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, thank you, and see you later.
See ya.
Bye.
Every desk phone is a list on if someone calls and talks about a bomb. And they're like, stay on the phone, keep them on the phone, ask them all these questions. It's like, and they're not going to answer any of them. What the fuck? The first question is like, what's your name? It's like, what?
Michael doesn't exist. That doesn't sound like your real name. Hello, I'm threatening you with a bomb. I'm not going to give you my real name. That either means... Okay, no, there is a reasoning here, and I'll quickly go through it. One, and if you ever have a checklist like this is like the ultimate symbol to get the fuck out of Dodge. If the person on the phone actually gives you their name, it's for two reasons. One, they're insane. In which case, if this is a real bomb situation, it's a real bomb situation.
Yeah.
Or they're just an insane person being insane. The other one is they're very confident that you're not going to live long enough to tell anyone their name.
That is true.
It's kind of like the old kidnapping thing, where it's like, if you get kidnapped and the kidnappers are always wearing face masks, there is a very high chance you're going to get ransomed.
Yeah.
And get out of the situation.
You'll survive. Yeah.
But if they kidnap you, and then like the second you're out of public, they take off your masks. Yeah, this isn't a kidnapping. This is a straight up murder.
Oh yeah.
Because if a kidnapper's like, okay, yep, no one else can see our face but you now. How's it going? You go, oh fuck, you're gonna kill me. How'd you know? Because you just showed me your face. So I'm not getting out of this where I can report you to the police. And they always be like, no, we're just confident you won't do anything with the police. Like, no, you're not. You're going to kill me.
Yes, you are confident that I won't do anything with the police. Because you're going to kill me.
You're going to kill me. No, we're not. Yes, you are.
Stop lying to me.
Come on, we got to organise your ransom. No, you don't. You're going to kill me. You're not making this very easy. You're going to kill me. Why do you think you're going to kill me? Because I've seen your face. Oh, yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, you fucked it.
So, that actually makes a lot of sense. Maybe we should do that. It's like, yeah.
Oh,
fuck. They weren't going to kill me.
God, you guys were just those incompetent ones. Damn it.
Damn it, I thought you were smart enough.
A bomb is not a fire.
Yeah, true. Get the fuck away, yeah.
It's not like... And, okay, so let's do this without. getting myself put on any watch lists. If you are going to bomb somewhere like Bunnings, which you wouldn't,
That'd be pointless.
It's an insanity bombing. There's two types of bombings. There's three types of bombings. There's precision bombing, used against a target by the military.
True.
Yeah. Then there's insanity bombing.
Okay, yeah.
It's a very overreaction to something. The other one is obviously terror. For terror reasons, right? You want to scare as many people as possible, which is why I'm very comfortable living in Rockhampton. No one thinks this is a viable terror threat. But yeah, so there are your reasons, right? But yeah, back to my original point. Yeah, bombs aren't fires. Fires are like get out of the building and then stand like sort of near the building so we can check that everyone's there. It's like bombs are like, yeah, the blast wave can be just as dangerous as shrapnel and shit. So don't be standing anywhere near it. Don't be like, well, I'm out of the building, the bomb's in, so I should be good. Boom.
Yeah, no, it's get away.
It's get as far away as possible and preferably into a ditch. Ditches save lives.
That's true.
There's a
and there is one nearby.
There is like an actual study, and it's like it comes from World War I, obviously, because obviously it does.
And the helpful thing is there's a ditch across the road.
Yeah. It's looking into why trench warfare became such a massive thing, and they literally like looked at the different heights a person, as the average soldier could be at. So full standing, on horseback, full standing, crouched, prone, lying in a small ditch in a trench, versus the effects of artillery explosion.
Yeah.
And the further you get down to the ground, your survivability increases like tenfold. So it's like if you're on a horse, your survivability is bad.
If you survived, oh boy.
If you're standing up straight, it's bad. Like, I don't think there's that much difference between the two, because both are like, you are completely out in the open.
Yes.
And obviously blast waves are dangerous, but so is shrapnel.
Very much so, yes.
If you're crouched down firing, like in a firing position, crouched, your chances are quite significantly better than if you were just standing.
Oh yeah.
If you're crouched and like behind something firing, even better. If you're lying prone on the ground, even better. If you're in a small ditch, your odds go from something like 50% survival of the shell going off within this range that they were looking at. I can't remember all of the numbers exactly. To something like 89% survival chance. And it's like if you're in a trench, it like kicks all the way up to like 92% survival chances. And it's like, wow. And like, I know that doesn't sound right, because it's like, but I'm in a squad with 100 of my buddies. That means 8 of us will die in an artillery strike. But it's like, yeah, statistically speaking, that's correct.
Yeah.
But if you're all standing there, most of you are going to die. Get in your trench. And the reason why is that trenches were actually fucking fantastic at their job. One, being below the ground meant that any shrapnel flying would generally A, fly over them or get buried in the ground.
Yes.
2, the shockwaves were happening above you, so you didn't have to worry about that because the ground was stopping it.
True.
And 3, the general only way for a trench to actually fail you, its occupant, was if it was a direct hit from a shell.
Yeah.
And you know what? To be fair to a trench, if you got directly hit by a shell anywhere else, you were also dead.
Well, yeah.
So, we'll give it a pass there.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
This trench didn't save these men at all. The shell landed on top of them. Exactly. But if they were out in the open and the shell landed on top of them, they'd also be dead. Yeah, agreed. But this trench did nothing. Yeah, but that's because of the luck. It was a lucky shot.
It's what we call a lucky shot. And those people there, they're the ones we call unlucky bastards.
Although there's also like another really just like fun fact about World War I, which is the fact that machine guns were used in artillery placement.
Yeah.
So what they would actually do is like put their machine guns on like an angle like fucking that, and then just shoot up and just like lob bullets into the other side. As I guess you would call it super light artillery. And I just find it funny because like in the modern day, everyone knows what a machine gun's job is for.
Yeah.
Area denial.
Yeah.
You put it straight in an area where you don't want anyone coming through, and you light up.
Yes.
If you see any movement, you light it up. Whereas back in World War One, they were kind of experimenting with what the machine gun is and what it does. And some people were like, yes, in this thing, the machine gun can be used as super light, very ineffective artillery. How so? Well, we shoot it up, and then gravity pulls the bullets down, and if one of these bullets hits a person just right, it gets them. Okay, but what if it lands like a meter away from them? Nothing. Because they're just bullets. They don't explode.
No, they don't do shit.
But it'll keep them in cover. And actually, that's a very important fact about World War One. 90% of what they did were like, just make sure they stay where they are. And we'll stay where we are. And then no one has to die.
That's pretty much it.
And then they were like, okay, good news. We gotta be where they are. And it's like, oh no, so many people are going to die.
Yeah.
And that is the tragedy of World War One.
No, it was.
Reminds me of another tragedy. The tragedy of Dark Plagueis.
It does. I fucking knew you were going to say it too. God damn it. I'm like, that reminds me of another tragedy. Dark Plagueis. There we go.
Talking about the tragedy of Dark Plagueis. The Wise. Perchance? Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. No. But yeah, so by World War II, they kind of figured out how to use machine guns, but
yeah.
God, there was some crazy stuff going on. Like, even in World War II, do you know how you see the tanks with the big 50 cal loaded on the back?
Yeah.
And like every modern person sees that and goes, yeah, so someone can jump on the back and light up a line of infantry with a 50 cal.
Yeah.
Do you know what that gun was actually for?
To keep people off of it?
No. That was your air defense. If you saw a plane coming towards you, that was going to shoot that plane down.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Maybe. Possibly.
Potentially. They were going to find out.
Let's just say, because this is a trend that went on into the jet era, I don't fancy my chances of taking out a jet fighter that's attacking my tank with
hell no.
a 50 caliber machine gun.
Nope.
20 mil cannon? Yes, absolutely. You give me that 20 mil cannon, I believe in its power.
Yeah, that's fair.
And its explosive rounds. But yeah, 50... Because yeah, that's the other thing that people don't really get. Machine guns were like literally the first anti-air gun. Again, that comes from World War One. It was like, the planes can only fly so high above us, so our normal bullets can hit it. So we're going to use machine guns because that just puts more of our bullets in that vicinity while the plane is flying through. And it fucking worked.
Oh yeah.
Do you know how many pilots were killed by just riflemen? Because as they flew through and were like, I'm going to attack the ground now, and they pulled out their little hand grenades and were like, dook, dook, I'm out of bombs. Like, I kid you not, these things were like little hand grenade sized things. And the rifleman would just be like, okay, he's flying above us, fire, boom, 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 boom. And the bullets would just tear through the canvas.
That's right, yeah, because it was just canvas.
And they're pretty sure that the, well, no, sorry, they are 100% sure the Red Baron died of a shot. They just don't know who did it. He was shot down by either a machine gunner or a rifleman.
Yeah.
And all of the information either points to a Canadian machine gunner or an Australian rifleman. But I think they said, knowing the positions of everything as best as we can, it was more likely the rifleman that got the lucky shot than the machine gunner. But that's kind of the whole point about it. It was like, back then, being a pilot was not like, I'm safe from these guys on the ground, unless they have a missile system. It was like, oh, that's a whole lot of guns I'm about to fly towards. And I don't even have a nice trench. Holy shit, on the scale of survivability, I'm even higher than the guy on the horse. Where's my cover?
Oh, I've got this piece of canvas. Oh.
Hopefully they'll put all of the bullets into the large engine. It can stop some, probably. But then I die from crashing. Excellent.
But at least I don't get the satisfaction of someone shooting me.
Well, that's like the other thing that I also find incredibly funny about people that don't know anything about like military history.
Yeah.
Ace. They hear ace pilot and they go, oh, this person must be like one of the best. And it's like, you become an ace when you shoot down 5 other planes.
Yep.
That is the thing that makes you an ace. Why is that? Because in World War I, when plane warfare first became a thing, if you could shoot down 5 planes and still be alive, you were fucking amazing. Because I just shot down like 3 planes. You're a fucking hero. You're not buying a drink for the rest of the war. Because fucking these things were not easy to do.
No.
And every time you fucking flew, you were like, yeah, people are like, I'm scared of flying now. And you're like, reasonable. We are in a metal cylinder.
Yeah.
Well, like back then it was like, reasonable. This thing might just stop and fall out of the sky for no goddamn reason.
Yeah, that sounds right.
If everything goes well, you'll have the chance to land it. If everything doesn't go well,
At least be a kamikaze.
we'll try and recover your body.
If everything doesn't go well, try to aim for the end.
No, they didn't want to do that either.
Oh, yeah, no, that's fair.
Because you
Didn't want to give them anything. Yeah.
chances are...
Yeah.
Because you also got to remember that planes' main roles in a lot of this stuff was actually surveillance.
True.
So you don't want to let them know what you're surveilling. And you also want to, even if you die, you want to get that back to your guys. So you can be like, I found out where they are. They've got trenches 10 meters away. And like, oh, we already knew that. But thanks for dying and all. World War One. God, was it a shit show.
Oh, it was.